Erastus Asare Donkor, a journalist who has distinguished himself and gained significant reputation for focusing on environmental issues, and he's almost the authority on Galamsey in terms of reporting and in terms of knowing what is really happening. And I'm happy that the coalition works with him and everyone works with him. I'm happy that multimedia have given him a space to be able to do the environmental thing. This is very, very nice. I like that. Erastus Asare Donkor, congratulations. He says as follows: the president did not inspire hope and urgency in the fight against Galamsey. He watered down on a very precious situation, just as he has done always. I don't know whether that's fair. He said he watered down on a very precious situation, just as he has done always. The always part, I'm not sure about it. Erastus, always means what? Yes, precarious. He watered down a very precarious situation, just as he has done always. It's the always that I'm concerned about. The always, I don't know where it's coming from, but I don't know how fair that is. Let's move on. His posture reflected complicity on the infractions on the ground, whistling down a decapitation to a broken arm. I totally disagree with him on the withdrawal of the IGP's men and accusing them of not knowing the difference between legal small-scale miners and illegal miners. That is a total fallacy. It shows, Erastus says, that is either the president was ill-briefed about the situation in the ground, or he was totally clueless of what happens on the ground. Or maybe he is also joining the bandwagon of deliberate spinning of falsehoods in a bid to give the dog a bad name to hang it, unquote. Erastus goes further. He says, I challenge the president to name a single licensed small-scale mining entity that is mining responsibly on the ground. What is a small-scale mining entity doing, he asked, in a forest reserve when the law does not give permits to same to mine in a forest reserve? Who licensed small-scale mining companies to be mining inches away from the rivers Pra, Ankobra, Tano, Ofin, Ayensu, Bia? Ofin and the others were the task force. Ofin and the others where the task force arrested them. In a normal civilized society, it is not the police that is clothed with law enforcement. In a normal civilized society, he asked, is it not the police that is clothed with law enforcement? How different are nature crimes from the armed robberies that the police fight? When the president says, quote, every policeman gets up and goes after illegal miners, by unquote, by implication, he's saying that nature crimes are no longer crimes at the local level unless identified by NIMOS. That's the Blue Water people, I believe. Is the president respectfully asking local police to stay away from nature crimes, and for that matter, Galamsey, just like it happened under the previous administration? It's equally disappointing to hear the president say, quote, we can't be chasing after them when we have not provided them alternatives, unquote. Excuse me to say, he says, it's just like telling the armed robbers, money doublers, and scammers to continue with their criminal activity until government finds employment for them. I'm sorry, he says, this is not the president of a country that has more than 60% of its water bodies polluted and laden with heavy metals. This, he continues, is not the president of a country with 44 of its forest reserves attacked in a spate of 8 years. He says further, this is not the president of a country whose towns and villages and highways have been taken over by haphazard illegal mining. This is not the president of a country whose muddy rivers are polluted the sea. This is not the president of a country whose forest reserves are turning into miles of pits and gullies waiting for another generation to seek loans to reclaim them. This is definitely not the president of a country whose newborn babies are registering childhood cancers, deformities, and strange ailments from irresponsible mining. This is not the president of a country that is worried about the grave environmental suicide, crippling cocoa production, and contaminating its cocoa exports. The IGP's men did a good job. They were fearless. They have their flaws, but they brought the nonsense under control. Mr. President, some of your party executives and appointees who were not happy with the way they were pouring sand in their gari started a propagandist agenda to give the dog a bad name and to hang it. Today, as I write after the president's submissions and compromised, in quote, compromised position on Galamsey, many illegal miners are meeting in Samamboy and other areas. They say they've been asked to go back and erode the gains we made. Let's serve a warning. Mr. President, you are repeating the mistakes of the previous regime and you know the consequences. I find it a bit lame, some of your answers to the questions on Galamsey. We all know that Blue Water Guard is not the solution to mining on water bodies. The solution lies in a strong statement that certain areas are no-go areas for mining. My worry is that we have a citizenry so divided by partisan politics that they reason like blind people to the truth about their very existence. The future of generations is being decimated. Instead of looking at the bigger picture, many Ghanaians are minding their own business. Those who speak are only seeking partisan leverages to please the political class. Some of us will continue to push strongly the situation on the ground and do our bit as journalists. The media we have consistently is failing this country. If only we would be serious about this, we could help push us all towards responsible mining. An epistle from the very disappointed, frustrated, and angry journalist in the mines, Erastus Asare Donkor of the Multimedia Group. That's his epistle. Frustrated, angry about the situation. Bottom line, the police have been asked to leave. Apparently, they were asked to leave in the previous regime as well. But they've been asked to leave. And this is the issue. Where are the voices? Where is Sam George? Where is Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa? I didn't see him in the room. I don't know whether he's there. Maybe he's traveled. The lands minister, the man in charge, the Honorable Amako Fibua, said there should be a state of emergency. The party chair, Johnson Asidu Ketia, says they cannot do a state of emergency. I'm not saying they should do a state of emergency. I believe the president spoke the truth. But the truth he spoke today is being compared with the truth that they put out yesterday. And one truth is becoming deficit of truth. One truth is losing the truth deficit. It's getting more deficit of truth, even though it is also called truth. That's a lesson we can talk about another day.